right. So I'm from the Y generation, and why I started my company and why we started our startup is because I've always been asked myself, what can I offer for our kids, for the next generation. I mean, am I or are we the Y generation, the first generation, to think that we cannot give a better future to our kids? Like my parents, they could say, yeah, I mean, they had the car, they had the washing machine and everything coming up, like the life was getting easier. And all generation before, with industrialization, more work, and so on. So it was easy to say that we can guarantee a better life to our children. But right now, with the global warming, with the CO2 issue, with more people on the planet, we see, that we have a lot of problem, including also access to resources. And I won't take a long time here because everybody understands that here and in this panel, and everybody also understands that the biggest issue is coming from the CO2 emissions as of today. That's not the only issue, but that's the one we want to tackle right now. And so the biggest rise in terms of concern is about the building sector. So the building sector produces a lot of CO2 emissions, not only from the energy that we are using inside of the buildings, but also from the scope 3, so from the build itself, so from the walls and so on and so forth. So the thing is that, I'm coming from the building. I'm coming from the building industry. I come from Switzerland. I live now in Asia for the last 9 years. And I was working with, the best technology that we have done in Europe. In Switzerland, I was developing the first cloud solution for building management systems, smart buildings. And, I've always been working with the smartest people. And whenever you go somewhere and you go inside of the buildings, everybody thinks like the only solution to save energy inside of buildings and making building better is to use renewable energy. And I do agree that this is something which is important. However, we cannot only rely on that because the production of, those things, solar panels or, windmill and stuff like that requires a lot of energy, but also requires some mining. Last week I was invited in Australia to see about the development and how to reduce the energy consumption in the built environment in Australia. And so I asked, there was a very good professor. He was explaining how he can bring Australia to zero energy emissions and zero CO2 emissions. And I asked him if he has already thought to put his plan against plans from other countries and if there's enough resources in the planet. And he said, actually, no, there is not. It's not possible. So the thing is that we need to make building more efficient. And yes, we have very old technology, even from BMS, like building management system, that allows us to reduce energy by up to 30%. But there are lots of barriers on the market. And actually, this is what we want to tackle. If you just see the barriers, like as example, tendering for the lower price, which I can explain very easily. I've been working in the BMS world for so long. And when you have a customer that wants to build a building, he doesn't know what he wants inside of his building. So he will see a design consultant that actually doesn't know all the latest technology. We're speaking about IoT, cloud solution, and so on and so forth. And so they just copy paste a very simple thing, especially here in Asia. Especially, I'm just right now in Thailand working on a project actually. And, but the biggest issue is the main contractor. The main contractor is the guy that selects the product that's going to make a building smart. And actually, those people, they will select the cheapest solution they can find because they're never going to pay the energy bill. So when you had BMS suppliers providing smart buildings and whatsoever, so we were always asked to provide the cheapest solution. This is why actually I decided to Uberize the market. So my point is to go to building users, building owners, and to provide them a zero capex solution where we provide a 2 to 5 years model, rent to own model, where we provide them a full BMS service to make their building smart. So actually smart building services, totally free of charge. We get paid only on the savings that we realize. So the customer doesn't pay anything until we start realizing some energy savings. So we have developed our solution in Singapore. So the platform, the software platform, but we are using any product from several other suppliers. we calculate our fee using several models, but the model that we prefer is we have created a predictive baseline. And so maybe you have heard about this kind of maybe ESCO business, energy saving contracting, EPC. Our system is very different because we are providing a BMS as a service. We are not changing any mechanical solution. We are only controlling buildings better to help saving energy and reducing the CO2 emissions. So at the end also of our contract, we continue with purely SaaS solutions. So all the technical product that we have installed remains by the customer, and we still provide our cloud solution to continue analyze everything and continue to improve everything. So we are working actually in Singapore, Australia, Perth, Bangkok, and Manila, and so we are a very good team of people because we come from every type of in this industry. But I don't want to speak much about this. This is not important. What's important is that actually we already have MVP. We already have finished some project. We are saving already 35% of energy in 5 months in project. I'm now working in the project in the Hyatt Regency here in Bangkok, Sukhumvit, where we are actually on the way to save 30% of energy as well. And we have a validated contract with the Marriott Group. And we are now looking at raising funds to be able to scale up, to do all the buildings we have access to from the Marriott Group and to continue our development. All right.